Morning, friends. It's been a while. I hope you're all well, and I hope that wherever you are on the planet, you're either nice and cool in the north or really cuddly and warm in the south. Our winter has been quite bitey, and this last little bit, I think, is the last hurrah of the cold, I hope. I love the in-between seasons. The extremes of winter and summer are a lot for me, but I thrive in autumn and spring. So I'm looking forward to spring. I hope you are. Welcome back to my desk. I wanted to show you some absolutely exquisite gents who arrived yesterday for some work. This is restoration work on toys that I remember from my childhood. And I always love it when people send me things that bring back beautiful memories. But I don't actually do restoration as a service anymore, as a listed service. This is because it's for a very dear friend and one of my longest standing clients. And I do love a change of pace. And when she reached out with these guys, I was like, oh, just send them because they're so beautiful. So without further ado, let's meet these handsome dudes. Rupert the Bear. He is a molded plastic guy, very sort of 70s style of toy. And I have incredibly wonderful memories of listening to Rupert LPs on the lounge floor and sitting on we weren't really allowed to bounce all over the couches. So we had a thing called a TV cushion. I don't know if anyone else had one, but it was this big old poofy cushion on the floor in that fabric. It's become cool again. I don't know what's going on, but it's that brown with the yellow and orange flowers on it. But it was like super nylon. And when I was little, I could just remember my hair with the static in this cushion. And really sweaty in summer. And Durban summers. Even Josie summers, which is like so sweaty and humid. And I can remember that I didn't love the TV cushion, but I remember the TV cushion. And listening to Rupert the Bear on LP, and loving it with my brother. I have an older brother who was also a Rupert fan. I was telling my kids the other day, because we have a bull terrier puppy who is 8 months old now, and she is just an eater of everything, but specifically loves wood and sticks, and I regularly call her Raggedy, and the kids asked why, and I had to Google Raggedy because I was terrified of Raggedy. I don't know why. It was such a teeny weeny adorable thing, but look at it now, and I'm like, oh, I want a Raggedy. But Raggedy scared the pants off me. Those are my memories. Here, have them first thing in the morning with your coffee, or whenever you're watching this. So Rupert's here for a touch-up. As you can see in those days, it appears that they've used an airbrush of sorts to kind of get the color on him, and a misfire was real. Also, this is sort of, he was a base color, which has worn off over the years. And so his hands are a bit worn, and having lived in Natal, I don't doubt that there's a little bit of mildew and things on him. So he's going to get really well cleaned and get spiffed up and looking handsome. And my OCD just wants to kind of put everything back in the line. So Rupert, meet the people, meet our friends. And then my boys flipped their beans, and they're 10 and 11 when he arrived and he came out the box, because he is just delightful, and I can see why he is so loved in his house. Look at him. Isn't he wonderful? He is exactly how we knew him from those sort of giant Disney annuals with the green covers. Those omnibus with all the stories in. And I remember sitting on my grandmother's landing, which was kind of like a library. There were thousands of books on shelves there. And there was this big old chair, which I actually have here. When she passed, I was given it as a gift, that I used to sit on her lap, and she used to read to us. And Pinocchio was one of my favorite stories. And he is also in need of work. So we've got some mildewy hands and wear and tear, and the same kind of treatment. Obviously, he is spray painted, but kind of they're misfired places. So I'm just going to neaten him up and make him look very handsome to send back to his mum. Amazingly, his joints are still beautifully smooth. He's a glorious find. I'm kind of hoping to trip over one of these guys someday and bring him home too. So he's here too. And then I haven't unwrapped her, but I'll just show you the ball she arrived in. This is genius packing. I'm quite happy to just retouch small areas. if somebody doesn't need a big job done, I'm not going to overhaul a whole doll. And this lady in here is a Design Queen clone, and very cleverly wrapped. You can't get squished like that. And the way the couriers have been behaving lately, I think it's quite a smifty move. I'm going to use it myself. So she is here. Isn't she magnificent? Look. I love her wild hair. So she's here just for eyes. She doesn't need much else done, and her mama is willing to do her lips when she's decided what her outfit looks like, so she tones in well. Let me get out the way so you can have a good look at her. But she just needs a bit of a touch-up on her eyes, which I'll do. We're having a bit of a nightmare with sealant and settling on what works on a vinyl face in this country, because we don't get Mr. Super Clear here. And even if we did, I wouldn't be tempted to use it. I avoid aerosols like the plague as it is. I don't use aerosol deodorants. I try never to use aerosols. So using sealant for me is, it feels like I'm doing something wrong every time I do it. But working with my Blythes, I need to. So I do it as quickly and minimally as possible. But a number of us here are trying to figure out how to work with sealants that possibly are less destructive and less toxic and all the good stuff. And I think there's a paint on one I can use just to seal her eyes so that she doesn't get tacky. But yeah, it's been a big wrestle for us here working with that kind of thing. So that's about it, really. That's the story from my desk, and that's who's visiting. They'll probably go home later next week. And I've been working on Molly. You will have seen pics of Molly. I'm currently wrestling hard with many sets of, I'll just show you Bordy's feet, because Bordy shouldn't be naked on camera, but I've been working on a set of high tops. Started with wanting to put a pair of high tops on Molly, and then realizing that I really just want to be able to produce these here. Having a look at the Etsy prices of them is, it's steep for people to bring them in, and I can understand the prices of them, because working on this pattern and trying to devise this myself, there's been no quicker way than a single pair taking me at least a day and a half, 2 days. They are hand stitched, they are hand clamped. Sometimes my hands are the clamps. They're tiny to work on. The pattern development has been nothing short of an adventure that has created some new and interesting words in my head, not polite ones. But I like to figure something out myself so that it's second nature-y, and the muscle memory is there for me to work with. I also don't believe in crossing somebody's request to not produce something commercially, and any of the patterns that I'd found online that I could have bought have all requested nicely that nobody use them for commercial use, and I do want to do that. So this was a fuddle it out your moment. Figure it out yourself, lady, and I kind of have. I'm nearly there. I'm struggling with different adhesives to figure out the best way for these to be longevitous and not pull apart, and but it's good. It's good to learn. It's good to grow. It's frustrating to live in a country that doesn't really have a lot of the crafty goods that other countries have. A lot of the help you can find online is based around specific products, and many of those we don't get here. So it's the outlay to either get them here, which then automatically makes the price of the product here landed way more expensive, or trying to adapt and then starting to use stuff here that works. And if we do get the products here, their landed cost from somebody bringing them in is also high. So adapting for our local market is quite something. I do my best always to promote local and shop local, and hope that others will feel the same. And at some point, I'm really wishing that I am going to be able to export quite substantially my Blythes. But for now, having to grapple with this market and what is available and what isn't available is quite a learning. It's quite a curve. So please know that when a local seller who hand makes things is selling to you, know that they've gone through all these processes, days, weeks, months of testing things. Certain things you can only know the outcome of after months, like the adhesive getting tacky on vinyl faces. Not adhesive, the sealant. Many of us are finding that. Others of us aren't finding it. So it's environmental, or it's temperature related, or I don't know. So just know that when we do things, we do them not just for us, but we're doing them so that the market gets our best. And when you look at something on Temu or, you know, any of the others, AliExpress, and we all do, we look at it and be like, oh my gosh, that's such a good price, I really want that. And there are items I have to bring in. There's no way I can have them produced here. I have hunted for certain things, like, and can't produce them myself. So there are items, I get it, that people want to buy off Temu because they're awesome and they're a great price. But we cannot compete with that locally. And the more of our brands that head on over there to other places, less of it's here for us. And those of us who are not quite making it to the end of every month anymore, as food and living costs skyrockets, are really relying on each other, all of us, to keep this economy rolling. The more of our hard-earned money that leaves our shores, the less of it we have to use ourselves. So I think that's a gentle plea to remember that there are local makers. We might take a little longer, we might cost a little more, but when you weigh that against the shipping and the fact that our families also need feeding, just like yours do, not everything has to be a convenience, not everything has to arrive in 10 days to your door, you know. It could be ordered here and maybe get it in 2 weeks, or pay a little bit more and know that we're growing our nation again from a strange space where we've been. First time in probably our history we have the most democratic version of a government we've ever had. And I'm excited to see where that takes us. The excitement is a little pressured by the fact that our finances, everyone I know, unless you're part of that sort of 1% top echelon, it is not really possible to survive this without insane debt. Just month-to-month living is creating debt. There's no sort of wild spending for anyone. So think local, love local, be local. Be proud of who we are and invest in that. That's my little heartstring for the day. Bree and Tatum are hard at work driving me to do all sorts of cool things. Our next Blythe is planned, and I can tell you that it's a he. It's a distinctive character that people may or may not know, but for my Harry Potter universe friends out there, it's not Harry. It's not Harry. But it is someone quite lovely from the universe. So keep watching. Thank you for your support, your care, your understanding, your ongoing encouragement. We love it. And I say we, not just my little plastic friends, but this family appreciate you so much. So from our hearts to yours, keep well. I'll keep you updated with these gorgeous gentlemen as they go. Watch my Facebook feed for that. Instagram is purely Blythes, mostly Blythes. Not purely, but mostly. Have a wonderful, wonderful day wherever you are. We're heading into a weekend, and I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day ahead. I'll catch you soon. Bye.